Hey crafty people! Welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Oh, welcome to my channel. In case you missed my first video of the year, my theme for 2026 is I have too much stuff and I need to use it. And going along with that theme, for the month of January, my focus is going to be on crafting PhDs, which are projects half done, and finishing those up, and doing some of the several mini kits I bought over the years that have been sitting in my stash waiting to get done. So in, I think, 2024, I bought not one, not two, not three, but 4 CrafTreat kits. And so I bought the frame accordion suitcase one, the matchbox camera, and then 2 basic 8x8 ones, one in craft and one in black. Yes, one in craft and one in black. And I did take out, because the accordion suitcase one and the matchbox camera one actually comes with 2 kits inside, one in black and one in craft. I went ahead to test out and make sure I could figure out how to do it. I did the black one, so this is what we are going to be doing. And I did check CrafTreat's website, and at least this one is still available. And it's actually not that bad, especially since you get magnets to go with it. And the kit comes with the base papers, but not the decorative papers. So it was about $16. So not that I'm encouraging you to shop, since, you know, I'm on a low buy 2026. But in case you were interested, I figured I'd give you that information. And as part of my needing to use my stash and my low buy rules of I have to use at least 3 of my pattern paper pads before I'm allowed to buy any more, this project used almost an entire 6x8 49 and market paper pad. I think I have a couple pages left. Another thing to note, the kit comes with the base to make this, which unfortunately the magnet's in there, but it's not working so great through 2 layers of 49 and market paper for some reason, even though this way it is working fine. So I don't know what's going on with that, other than I think my assembly of this was not great, and so that's part of the problem as well. So we're gonna tweak that as we assemble that one. This did not come with the kit, so I just took some black cardstock and created another accordion, and instead of doing like the elaborate closure for that, I just created a belly band, and I left a bit of room because I'm planning on going back in and putting photos from a trip with my mom into the 2 little albums. So I'm gonna do that later on. Definitely learned a few things as I was assembling. I think you can see I didn't quite line these guys up exactly right. So we're gonna tweak some things as we go. Let's see. Let me grab the stuff we need. Oh, and there are directions for how to create it inside. They were okay. There were some bits I just couldn't quite figure out. And with how they packaged it in together, there were some like creases put in that didn't exactly line up with the fold lines. That's not great, but we'll fix it as we go along. So just figured I'd let you know about some of the issues so that you can judge in case you do want to get this or you don't. All right, let me divvy this stuff out into that. That's all the accordion folio stuff. So we're going to start with the box base. So you've got 2 pieces like that. And let me grab the accessory pieces. So you get a magnet and just a disc to stick to the magnet. Like, I don't think that's actually magnetic. Yeah, no, it's just a disc, and that might be part of why I'm having an issue in the one spot, because it's got the little disc instead of a magnet. I don't know. But we're gonna start by folding all of our fold lines. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do the gluing together of this box. I just want to do like a test run because I think you want, because I noticed when I was assembling the last one side folded up a little squarer than the other on these sides, and I put the squarer ones towards each other, and I think it'll line up better if I put them on the outside. That probably doesn't make any sense, but we're gonna assemble this one like so, and this side is the one that's got to get our magnet inserts. So it goes on this piece, which is this piece here, and I'm just gonna kind of roughly center it, or all right, where's my pencil? That piece is 8, so I'm gonna come in 2 inches on either side, and that's where I'm going to put my magnet pieces. Now I'm changing something from the directions because the directions have you put the magnets on this side on both pieces. I'm just going to put the metal discs on the inside because they're too big to be hidden under the decorative paper that I'm going to put on. And I think it's going to be easier for getting everything to line up correctly if I put the magnety part on the outside and then just cover it with decorative paper. I think that's going to help us get it more square than the last time. You know, the first one that I did. So we're going to go ahead and glue these little discs on. And I'm going to put tape over them to keep them in place while the glue is drying. So we don't have to sit here and wait. Because, yeah, it does take a little bit more time for the art glitter glue to dry because it's a metal piece than when gluing paper to paper. All right, I'm also going to put a mark here so I know that's the side with the metal plates so that we assemble it correctly so that our magnets line up with the plates. I'm just making sure I push this bit all the way over so that the inside piece is all the way flush against the outer wall there. And I'm just going to take my bone folder and go in and give it a good press down. And you know, there was another thing I wanted to do differently from last time, and I forgot. So we're gonna at least do one of them now. And that is, I've already pre-cut all of my decorative strips. Yes. I wanted to glue this on before gluing this up because I think it'll be easier to get it to stick nicely, but it's too late now for that. So I'm just going to mark my angle on my paper and trim it off using a little paper trimmer. And I'm using the 49 and Market Academia paper pad. Then I thought doing it first would work better, but now I'm thinking I need to go back to how I did it originally because this piece is going to tuck under. Do I want to just... I think, you know what? We are going to give this a try. All right. This one's the piece that goes on top. And I cut the strips. The finished box size is 8 by 6. So for the long pieces, I cut them at 7 3/4 by a 1/2 inch wide because the walls are 3/4 of an inch wide. So it's just giving me a little bit of an allowance. There we go. And for the shorter ones, they're 5 3/4 by a 1/2 inch wide. And you need, I think it's 6 of the longer strips and 8 of the shorter strips to do the whole box. All right. Now this one, yeah, we can go ahead and put the strip on. I think this time I'm just going to glue it on and then trim it off. Now I'm just making sure it's between the fold lines. And there we go. Now the first time round, I trimmed them and left a gap. I think it's going to look better if I don't leave the gap, so that's why we're doing it this way. Okay, that's looking good. And then these get folded over and then you tuck them in and under like so. And yeah, I think I like that look a lot better than the having some of the background showing. So let's glue these two on. And then it just needs some glue along the top here to get that bit to glue into place and it to stay and sit nicely. It seems to be a little higher than it should be. So we're just gonna hold that a little longer. The side with the magnets. All right, so that piece is mostly done and ready to go. I am gonna go ahead off camera, score and fold this guy and get it to the point where we're gonna add the magnets, and then I'll be back because I don't know that you need to see me scoring and folding and doing the exact same thing I did for this a second time. Okay, before I add the decorative strip on here, I want to glue the magnets underneath. So I've put them on so that they are hitting the metal plate that we already glued in. And I'm going to add glue. And then I'm going to stand this up and this up so that I can hopefully get this be a bit more square. And this will end up being the top. So I'm not too worried that this is kind of a little on the wonky side. Okay, hopefully. No, they have not adhered. All right, let's hold that for a minute. But we do now have glue spots, so what I can do is put more glue. And flip our magnets over on to this side. Then we can mark and trim our decorative strip. I think I'm just going to use my scissors. Now they should go together perfectly. Right? Yes. All right. Now, on this side, we need to add our hinges. So those are going to go there. Okay, this side is definitely a little higher than it should be. So yeah, not exactly perfect, but it still comes out looking pretty stinking cute. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside and let the glue on the hinges dry. Ooh, yeah, before we do anything else. On the box part, we can work on the accordion pieces now. Okay, now this one I need to do a better job of getting my folds in, because the last one, it ended up being a little janky, and so it didn't fit into its little sleeve quite as well as it should have. We're just going to make sure everybody's lined up nice and neat. A little bit of overhang. We're going to trim that off. And then we're going to take the other accordion piece and fold it. This is the spot where the fold got a little out of whack. So we're going to pull it back this way and hopefully get it nicely lined up again. Okay. Now, we've got one of these strips, which has a score line down the middle for attaching these two together. What I'm going to do is glue it there. On like so. I may redo the crease between the two after I glue. Should use my Beverly Arts glue for this because that gives me a little extra wiggle room. We're just gonna trim that little bit of excess off over here. All right. Now, this is our little cover for the booklet. It goes around like this. It goes around like so. And that is like, I think we're gonna trim so that it's all nice and neat, because yeah, I don't like how that's sticking up at the top there. All right, so where did I put my papers? I pre-cut all of the papers for putting this together. And for the little folio, you need 14 sheets that are 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. And what you're supposed to do for the back is, step 1 is you're supposed to glue these pieces together by putting a decorative paper over top. So I'm going to try and keep this straight-ish. I feel like there should be like a little bit of a gap, just to give us a little bit more wiggle room. So I'm going to put glue on the back of this. All right, we're going to stick this half on. Then flip it. Line it up. Feel like there should be a gap, except then that's going to look funky because you'll see the gap. All right, so that should be good. That then goes in there, and these sides fold over. And you definitely need to trim up that piece at the top there. All right, we are going to try with our big chumpy scissors to get that trimmed off. There we go. And then we just need to glue all these pieces on here. Just trying to decide what I want for the front page. Feeling like I want the books. Forgot to do something before we did that. Numbers. All right, I'll figure out something in a minute. Because you're supposed to use this to attach it here, and I swear I read the directions numerous times and still couldn't figure it out, and so it should have gone underneath. Can I still get this up? Let's see. Yes, but it's too wide because I can't get it in all the way, so we are gonna trim off most of this. It would have been so much easier if I had remembered to do this before I put the backing paper on. then it attaches to this, and we can pull our little accordion thing out. All right, let's do that. But still have it attached to our base piece. And this is where it goes a little awry. Like, I don't think I'm doing it right, but I read the directions multiple times and could not figure out how to do this better so that this side does not bump into our spine quite so much. Because, yeah, part of me thinks I should have just left it so that this was completely removable instead of attaching it. And that would have worked a little bit better. But we are now at the too late now stage. And I just realized I had meant to use one of these as the very back page. So, oi. Open that. You know what? Honestly, it's not. We're rethinking, we're editing, we're just gonna undo that because that's not lined up great. Back. All of that to put the thing in, and now I'm like, you know what? I am not happy with it. All right. All right. Well, let that be a lesson. You can always tweak a kit if something's not working for you. And yeah. So when we're done, it'll just be in there instead of attached. That got all kinds of janky though as a result of what I did. So we're just gonna come in and sliver a little off to try and make it a little neater. All right, not too bad. Now I'm just going to go through and cover all of the pages in the little accordion piece. as I was doing this that I was supposed to put the black on the back here. Let's go ahead and use that side since we've already used this side on the accordion folio. Now I'm okay with the owl going sideways. So this goes in here. Now for the front flaps and the inside flaps, I'm going to use some scraps from cutting off other pieces. So, and in case I didn't say, this is the 49 Market 6x8 pack Academia. Cut these all down to the right length. This is going to get attached on here with a magnet going here and there. So I think that one I'm going to put on the inside. Mostly because we're going to end up putting this piece here, so that'll add more interest to this plain piece. This one I'm going to put on the inside here because I really like that image, and none of this is going to cover any of that. Like that, because I like the weight of this towards the bottom. Holding off on putting this one on. Let's do this part. Putting my finger where I don't want to put the glue. And we're gonna glue this down. And then glue that piece over top. We'll do that. Put glue on it. Close that over. And then cover that. Don't know why the magnet is not working as it should on this when it works on the cover. Like, it just does not make any sense to me. This is working even less than the last one. Yeah, I don't know why that does not seem to want to work so well. But there's our accordion folio, slightly tweaked, and then it's not attached inside because, yeah, that didn't go right, and I don't understand this. I don't understand. Since there's less between the magnet and the plate on this one than there is on this, but this actually works. I don't understand it. Okay, our hinges are not happy hinges still. All right, I'm gonna put these pieces in here. So I'm gonna kind of try and do it one-handed while holding this still. Trimming off the excess. I think we're going to make this the front. And then the other one I did two different front and backs, but I think this one I'm going to do them the same because I really like this piece. So let's do that. The next piece we're going to do is adding the straps and the buckles. Now, on this one, I wasn't thinking and did it after I put these pieces on. But this time I want the decorative paper to go over top. So we're going to do these first. And to jazz up the buckle and the corner pieces, I use some Sizzix luster matte wax. And I'm just not sure what color I want to use for on the craft. On the black, I used gold. So we're going to just test out. But I think I might like the charcoal better on the craft. So let's take a little bit and do that, or that. I think the charcoal shows up a little bit better. So we're going to go that route. And I am just going to put luster wax on all of the pieces, except the little tag. I'm just going to put a little on my finger and just rub it on. So I think I may do the rest of this off camera so as not to bore you with. So yeah, that's the basic principle. And then for these pieces, they are corner decorations. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do all of those and I'll be back. Okay, I went ahead and put the two pieces on the side, and now we're gonna add our straps, which are gonna go well, that folds off. Wow, that one's off too. And this section is, what, 6 inches? So let me grab over my paper trimmer because I have some scraps that came off the edges of the front pieces. So we're gonna trim those down to 6 inches. we are going to glue the bottom section on. And add our buckle. And then glue our buckle down. And I'm going to do that same process for all 4. And I'm realizing I should have the messier edge, like the one that's not lining up right, down at the bottom. Now we need to add our handles. Creased on the fold lines, and I'm going to glue one side down and then the other side down. And then these guys go on all the corners to give them a finished edge. So I'm just going to glue these all on. All right, so there we have him. He opens up. Whoop. Opens up like so. And we've got our little accordion folio in the holder that does not like it. And yeah, I just added a paper clip since the magnet is not working. And I do want to create a little folio to go in here. But I think I'm going to do another video where I do some decorating because, yeah, there's some plain bits. And the front of this is definitely plainer than the paper I used for the black one that I did. So I feel it needs some decorating. And I do have the laser cut elements that goes with this paperback. So we can do some funky decorating on this using those. But I think we're going to stop here, and in the next video we'll do decorating and we'll create a little folio to go into that pocket. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting!